but he's never had somebody that might get bored playing left tackle before. And so if Mahomes, as he ages, doesn't have to have the escapability and can just stand, scan, wait, and deliver the football, who's going to beat that team?
Amateur Hour. Jeez, podcast. Amateur Hour. Jeez, podcast. Amateur Hour podcast on KC Sports Network. Amateur on KC Sports Network. Hour on KC Sports Network. Podcast on KC Sports Net. We're gonna talk Chiefs football for you, and you, and you, and you.
What is this, amateur hour?
Yeah, I ain't no Superman businessman like you. You know, I'm just a
Amateur.
I suppose.
Amateur Hour.
Is what's happening.
Amateur Hour.
Is what's happening.
Thanks for listening to KC Sports Network, proudly presented by Emprise Bank. If you're thinking about starting a business or know someone who is, check out Emprise Bank's SBA loans. It's always good to know your options, and they can be your partner in possible.
Yeah, that's right, folks. The show is called Amateur Hour. I am Ryan Scott Hall, and joining me today, he's a sun-soaked sex symbol if I've ever seen one. It's his Dirkness.
So,
That's a pretty sultry sup to start the year, man. Look, Dirk, it's a new year, but we start every year the same. You're the captain now. Look at me. Look at me. You're the captain now.
I am the captain. Only for 1 week. Only to shake off the cobwebs. I literally had to dust off my microphone when I pulled it out 5 minutes before it came on here. It is still quite dirty, but usable. Yeah, how we doing? We got cut down day here. We're not going to get too much into that, but I wanted to wish everybody a happy Tim Ward Day, especially to you, Ryan, and also the engagement of Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce, which the best part of the engagement by far is Mike Dana being thrown up to the podium after the news is announced and being asked 6 straight questions about the engagement. And I feel like they could have picked a more random player. Like, let's just, how about Jack Cochran? How about you go deal with this? I need video of those questions because I bet they were electric.
Yeah, I think it's important that everybody at least acknowledges the fact, like, hey, we're sitting here, it's Tuesday night, right? It's August 26th, 6:30 p.m. Arrowhead time, and we still don't know who the Chiefs have cut. I probably will not be monitoring the situation all that closely, just to be candid with you, because I'm going to be so locked in on the questions that his Dirkness has crafted for this entire football season. A big season indeed. The 14th, in fact, season of Amateur Hour. We're teenagers, Dirk. Holy shit.
14th season. I can drive a car with an adult in the car. I think they might have changed that. They might have upped that rule actually, but
Amateur Hour, get a learner's permit now. Yes.
We're having a great time.
And hey, whatever you do, guys, it is not barely legal Amateur Hour. Okay. We're not doing that. That's going to send people to the wrong place. Okay.
Give it 4 years though, and we will be. So something to look forward to in 2029 for that season preview show.
We finally
into
adulthood. That's fun.
I do hope you enjoyed your off season, which is now consists of reacting to quarterback rankings and shitting on every element of the Chiefs organization and able to prop Patrick Mahomes up that he is once and for all the best. Did you enjoy that offseason chatter, Ryan?
I don't know. Look, so something happened since I was, I guess, well, you know what, you guys, if you watch 21 Questions, you know, but like I have a child now. So my off season was learning how to change diapers, you know, and figuring out a sleep schedule and, you know, trying to carve out a little slice of heaven here after a tough loss in the Super Bowl. And you know, we had a pretty good summer. It wasn't too bad. I was not thrilled with some of the national conversations, and we're gonna kind of work those into some of the topics that we discussed today.
All right, let's dive into it. I'm gonna start off sort of a question. You can bounce it back if you want, sort of an opening monologue stanza, but I just want to set the table for the season. You know, everybody know I like to set. Dirk likes to set a nice table. It's the chore for the lazy and unskilled. You know, sorry, babe. You know, I'm bad at washing dishes. I got no idea how the laundry works, but I can set the damn table. I can do that. So here we are. Theme of the 2025 Chiefs season for me. Do the Kansas City Chiefs still have it in them to turn their embarrassment on the national stage into motivation for a revenge season? Because the Chiefs are being doubted before the season for the first time in a while. After that Super Bowl shellacking, it's become quite in vogue to pick them to miss the playoffs. Last time we saw them get truly embarrassed like this was the 2021 AFC Championship, where they blew a 21-3 lead. The very next season, as all of you know, we get the Chiefs 2.0, Mahomes winning MVP, and the Chiefs winning the Super Bowl. That offseason had plenty of pessimism. Sort of a rebuilding or retooling of the roster that year, which brought the Chiefs 2.0 moniker along with it. But this year almost has like a Chiefs 3.0 of the Mahomes era feel to it for me. The base of the roster is still mostly intact from the last 3 years, but we're removed from the chase of the elusive three-peat. We're kind of over that hump, if you will. We're hoping this offensive old is going to return this year. People are once again hyping up the AFC West around the Chiefs. Or maybe it's just that Mahomes haircut that I swear aged him at least 10 years. You know, maybe we call this the Chiefs version 2.5. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how they look out there. But so the question is, do the Chiefs still have that in them? Will we see the same fight and hunger as we've become accustomed to over the 7-year run with Andy and Pat? Because this is when most NFL dynasties start to wind down. So if that did happen, the Chiefs run just kind of goes down along the best stretches in NFL history with the 60s Packers, 70s Steelers, 80s 49ers, 90s Cowboys for the most part, 2000s Patriots, and 2010s Patriots. Nice 7 to 8 year stretches. And then we just add the 20s Chiefs at the end of that list, basically. But what really set that Patriots run with Brady and Belichick apart from every other NFL dynasty was the sheer length of it and how many times they had reinvented themselves throughout. Started with a defensive team-first mentality. Then they go out and get Randy Moss and Wes Welker, and they light the NFL on fire with their offense. Then it's Gronk and Hernandez and these two tight end sets. Then it's Edelman and Amendola, the whites. You know, just constantly reinventing themselves, but always at the top of the NFL. So if the Chiefs do have it in them to respond this year and beyond, then they really start to distance themselves from those other dynasties in NFL history and start setting themselves up for a run that pushes them into immortality, where the only comparisons really are cross-sports comparisons and the Brady-Belichick Patriots.
I think James White played with the whites is the thing that's happening in my head. It's like, is there another white in there? Look, I thank you, Dirk, for setting the table. You did so beautifully. I
hope you're ready to eat.
Yeah, all right. Listen, I think to me, the Chiefs dynasty probably just goes for Andy's career. Like when Andy retires, that dynasty run is probably at that point kind of over. And it would I don't know, because like you look at this Patriots thing, and it's basically
hang on before you get there. Everyone's saying right now that it's Andy Reid's career, not Patrick Mahomes' career.
Right, and that's like, because what I was going to say about the Patriots is like, it's basically Brady's career, right? Like the Patriots dynasty is the years that Tom Brady was there. And it happened that Belichick was there at the same time. And I don't think that means it has nothing to do with Belichick, but like, if you look at the years, they win their first when Brady becomes the quarterback. And it stops when Brady leaves, and the Patriots are, very, very different. The big earth-shattering change that the Chiefs are going to experience first is Andy Reid retiring, not Patrick Mahomes retiring. And so, like, if there is a break between what this dynasty actually is, the two of them together, and we can find these other pieces, Travis Kelce, Chris Jones, whoever else that you want to add into that mix. But, like, this is about Andy and Patrick. And so when one of them goes, I think that they will just be viewed differently. Now, maybe Mahomes can continue to carry that torch at whatever age he is, with whatever support system remains. Like, who knows? I mean, he's 30, right? Finally, 30 years old, I believe, with a haircut to prove it. And, we're talking about a coach in Andy Reid that's 64 now, I think 63, 64. And like, no offense to Andy, but he's probably an old 63 or 64. Football ages you, man. The long days, the incredible like time and physical commitment that it takes to just be able to do this every year. I mean, I think that he maybe has a handful of years left. And then we're talking about a 35-year-old Mahomes. And does he want to play another decade because he wants to be like Tom? Or does he look around at 35 with however many rings and say, hey, my coach is done and I'm done too? Like, we don't know what that looks like, but do the Chiefs still have it in them? They got Patrick Mahomes and they got Andy Reid. So like, I'm sorry, the AFC and frankly, the championship still in my mind runs through Kansas City. Philadelphia earned it. They won it. They are the defending champs, whether they want to be called that or not. Weirdest offseason headline of my life, maybe. No, we're not defending anything. That, I'm sorry. Weird. That's weird. Am I the only thing that's weird? Seems weird. First, defending champs that don't want to defend. Sounds like fear to me, because everybody knows that you're going to get a really motivated Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, and frankly, I would think entire Chiefs roster. You've heard it. If you've listened to the guys that step up to the podium every week, you've heard them say, like, people came in a little bit better shape. People came in looking like a little bit more serious, a little more motivated, a little more focused in the room. When we're watching film, like, everybody knows it's time to turn it up, because last year they ran out of gas.
Yeah, and first off, Andy is an old 63 because he's actually 67. So that does literally make him an old 63, I would say.
Yeah.
But yeah, these predictions, I don't put too much stock into them, because I think as someone who loves making predictions as well, it's not very fun to pick the same team over and over. When I'm experiencing this Patriots dynasty that's lasting every year, I'm looking at it every year like, ooh, who's going to beat the Patriots this year? Like, how are they going to go out? I'm not sitting at home picking the Patriots to win the Super Bowl, because there's not fun in that. So, at least half of these people who are putting out these predictions of the Chiefs missing the playoffs, not winning their division, et cetera, I don't think they fully believe it themselves. And they're just kind of looking for either traction or just trying to have fun with it, which is totally fine. But yeah, it will be fun. It's just kind of weird to look at like different dynasties like that, and this is kind of like the level that they typically reach. It just kind of starts to wind down at this time, outside of the Patriots, basically. But yeah, let's get to the real questions. We're going to start those right after this break.
Looking for tickets for your next event? Tickets for Less is your #1 source. Save big on every purchase when you use promo code KCSN at ticketsforless.com.
I'm Brett Goodwin, one of the owners of The Learning Tree. The Learning Tree is a neighborhood toy store in Prairie Village, Kansas, This been here in this location since 2000s, and my husband Alan and I purchased the store in 2023. Alan and I grew up in families where we've always wanted to have a business together. Alan grew up, for instance, his parents had a jewelry store. I worked in a local toy store here in Prairie Village when I was growing up. When this opportunity happened in 2023, we knew right away we wanted to contact them and pursue the store. We wouldn't have been able to get the store without the team at Emprise Bank. From the day we contacted them, they knew what we needed to do, which was very helpful. I would absolutely recommend the team at Emprise Bank to anyone looking to secure a business. We worked with Emprise from day one. They were extremely helpful. They were always great resources. We talk to them frequently. They know the area. They're very friendly. We know who we're going to talk with, and they know what we need to do. We hope we'll see you at the Learning Tree.
And we're back. And not a sponsor in sight. We lost all our sponsors, baby. We got a clean run this year. We've been dumped by everybody. We're actually trying to pay people to sponsor us at this point, but it hasn't happened yet. No one's taking our money. So
Back to the days, maybe, of those ad reads that we created to try to get sponsors. Hey, if you or any other local business owners that you might know might be interested in promoting your business to, however, I mean, bro, we tried it all. Oh, all right. Season 14.
All right. We're going to 10 questions here. These are meant to preview the season. I kind of lent into better discussions this year than kind of questions that would necessarily shape the season. Just an editorial choice there. But we're starting off here. Question number 1, previewing the Chiefs 2025 season. Question number 1 is Josh Simmons. That's the question. Going to you, Ryan. What are your thoughts on the, everything we've seen from Josh Simmons, the excitement around Josh Simmons so far in training camp and preseason?
I think the thing that excited me the most, since he was drafted by the team, was a comment that I saw from Chris Long, maybe a couple weeks ago. And this was just a Twitter reply. It's not some big video. It's not a clip from his podcast. He's not promoting anything. He's just in conversation with other smart football people. It wasn't even like a fan question. He's responding to somebody else talking about Josh Simmons, I believe. And he said, as soon as he gets his timing down, he's going to be bored. And we're talking about a guy that has not played a snap of regular season NFL football yet. And a guy that comes from, his father is a Hall of Fame player. He and his brother were both first round draft picks. Like, this is a football family. This dude knows the game, like, arguably as well as anybody that's covering it right now. And he's talking about our new left tackle, saying when he gets his timing down, he's going to be bored. And that is a really good feeling. I think when it first happened, and really just kind of like how the off season went, starting with Jalen Moore and then ultimately drafting Josh Simmons. I don't know. I've had a lot of feelings. I've gone through all sorts of iterations of like how to feel about what they did, how it happened. I do think that one of the other things that I am really excited about is what feels like a kind of a marriage between Josh Simmons and the guy that's going to play left guard this year. Presumably, he was going to play left tackle last year, and that didn't last very long. But Kingsley and Josh Simmons, they're like everywhere together. They're the new Bash brothers, essentially. They're both young. They're both trying to find their way. And from what I've heard, based on comments from other people, they both have this Polynesian background that kind of like ties them together and makes them feel, almost like they're related in some type of way. And so I'm really digging that vibe, and it makes me feel a little bit better about Kingsley that Josh is there, which is a strange thing to say about like a rookie and a second year player.
I like how Kingsley's like the ex, but we kept him around. It's just like, we broke up with him, but then like we still wanted him in the fold, so we like hired him as our nanny. And just
can we be friends? We want to stay friends, right?
Put it next to our current girlfriend. Like, sorry, we had to break up. We found someone way better, but we still want you around. You're still getting the job.
Well, and literally standing right next to her, it's like, you get it, right? I mean, like, but here's the thing, like, you almost get the sense sometimes that it's like Josh is kind of the mentor, and mentor may not be the right word. Here's what it is. I think he's the alpha. He's certainly the alpha on that side of the line, and that's how it should be. I think he has, probably the right mentality for it. He certainly has all of the build and athleticism and everything else that we talked about with Kingsley. But he looks a lot more comfortable. I think that, like, what I'm really asking myself with Josh Simmons, and as they kind of enter this season, I mean, I see the vision, right? But their choices this offseason all but guaranteed that either their top free agent and a top 10-ish paid player on the roster, or their first round pick this year is basically just not going to be on the field. Like, that's how it is working out. So if they want to play both of them at the same time, again, we're talking about Jalen Moore, the top free agent, and one of the most highly paid guys on the team. It's either him or Simmons, seemingly, if it's just this left tackle operation. It's that, or then Kingsley's back to the bench for another year, or like Jawan Taylor, another high-priced player on your team, relegated to swing duty. Like, I don't know if this is going to be a good problem, or if we're looking at something that might sink the offensive line a third time. Like, I want to be excited, and there's a lot of reasons to be excited. But we're still talking about a rookie left tackle who is essentially guaranteed to go through struggles, and a left guard that has never really played it and has shown in the limited time that he's playing it that he does not confident at pass blocking. Like, there could be some issues.
Well, I'm fine. I'm fine hiding Kingsley at guard. I think you can get away with a bad guard, especially if you have talent around him. I think it's much harder to hide a bad tackle. And I think basically Brett Veach just identified the problem from last year, and he likes to get really aggressive when he identifies a big problem like that. As we saw in the offensive line after the Buccaneers Super Bowl, he went out there and went to the max to fill that need. Even when you look at like receivers from 2023, and then he comes back the next year and he spends the first round pick on Worthy and a big contract handed out to Hollywood Brown. That didn't really pan out necessarily because of the injuries in that room. But he still kind of attacked that problem, from a multi-pronged front kind of thing. So I am not mad at the process, especially because you have to sign the guy like Jalen Moore before you ever get to the draft. You're going to have no idea. I mean, Josh Simmons could have gone 17. And then if the Chiefs didn't like anyone at left tackle, then what are you supposed to do? Like, you can't go into that draft without a plan at left tackle, without at least, a partial plan, even if it's like a B grade plan. You at least had to do something. So it did kind of work out weird. I do think there's a good chance Jalen Moore plays right tackle for this team next year after Jawan Taylor's let go. But I do get what you're saying, but I have no qualms with it whatsoever. Especially if just Josh Simmons is going to pan out here.
Yeah. I mean, I think where I got like sideways during the off season. And so if someone is still feeling this way, like, trust me, I've been there, but it's like, last year when the Chiefs drafted Kingsley, I was convinced that he was going to be the long-term solution at left tackle. I mean, he has everything. He's got the measurables. He's got the pedigree, you name it. Having the story about like stealing him at the end of round 2 almost made me more confident about his future. I loved the narrative. And then the Chiefs show so much confidence in the guy that he hardly even plays football in the preseason. Like, to be fair to myself, it was such a hard sell by the organization that I basically had no choice but to believe in Kingsley. And, he then gets benched during the second game of the season. Like, I understand that Simmons is not just a different person. He's a different level of prospect. People talked about him. If he was healthy, he would have been a top 10, top 5 talent, whatever. I get it. But like, the trauma is still a little too fresh for me to like just be ready to love again. Because like I think both the Chiefs and Kingsley hurt me last year, and now it kind of feels like everyone around me is talking about how Josh Simmons is the most talented tackle on the team already, and it just makes me feel a little skeptical. Like, let's slow down. Not this is a bad player, not it's not going to work, not they're rushing him along, but like, can we just like let's watch it? You know, let's see him pick up one blitz in a regular season game. I don't know.
That was like the early reports. That kind of was my first thoughts too. It was like, hey, we're doing this again. Like we're just pumping up the new left tackle. But you know, I mean, I've kind of moved past that. That was definitely a thought like early on in training camp, but it has not entered my mind recently, you know, for better or worse. Maybe setting myself up to get hurt again, but you know, where my emotions on my sleeve. But I think with all the like seeing him in preseason action, how good he looks, all the offensive linemen on Twitter that do analysis chiming in, just like this guy's looks amazing. And then the incredible part to me is where I wanted to focus is his health. So I wanted to look because there was this knee injury that people talked about. I was looking a little bit. It's a torn patellar tendon is what he suffered. 4 athletes who have had it: Victor Cruz, Jimmy Graham, Gerard Mayo, Victor Oladipo in the NBA, Cadillac Williams. Lots of guys whose careers were cut short due to having this injury. I pulled up a study from the National Library of Medicine. Conclusion: a patellar tendon rupture is a potentially devastating injury for the professional athlete. American football players appear to have the worst post-operative outcome with the lowest return to play rate and a most significant decrease in performance in the first post-operative season. Like that's just like as damning as it gets. Like this guy is in trouble, and yet we haven't heard a peep about it. We're not hearing anything like he's limited in practice or anything, or he doesn't look confident on his knee. Like we're not hearing anything about this guy struggling with this knee injury. And yet all signs are just that he's absolutely dominating when he plays. So that's just like the amazing part. You know, that's clearly why he slid to us in the draft. And I don't know what you say. You give credit to the Chiefs medical team, I guess, for evaluating him as hard as they did and thinking that he can move past this. I mean, obviously he has not overcome this injury yet. I guess I should emphasize that, but all signs are kind of pointing that way. And it's incredible to me that we're not hearing a single peep about it when that's the whole reason that he slid in the draft.
What we're hearing instead is more Chiefs lore about like Brett Veach and the depths that he goes to find his talent, because like they basically made it sound like the moment that Josh Simmons went down with an injury, the Chiefs decided that is our left tackle. And Veach like went to, it's like he like drove him to his doctor's appointments practically. I mean, all I heard through that draft process was like Kansas City, Kansas City, Kansas City, Kansas City, Kansas City. Every single stop, anytime that they could formally or informally talk to Josh Simmons, they were there. And so telegraphing it that whole time, showing everybody this is what we want, and nobody stepped in the way, that also like that's that same part of the Chiefs getting Kingsley in the second round last year. I'm like, you suckers. I cannot believe it. Like when he fell to 32, don't get me wrong. Like there were probably some other people that I wanted, or I guess I said 32. It was 31. When we took him at 31, like everybody kind of knew that it was coming. And I think maybe at the time I wanted, but it was like, it felt too good to be true, man. But even then not being hurt feels too good to be true, but I'm really excited to watch him because the way people talk, like frickin' Willie Roaf's going to be out there, you know? And I'm very excited to see what Patrick Mahomes not having to worry about his backside actually looks like. Okay. I was imagining in my head, like, you know, the difference between Mahomes and some of his counterparts, the guys that kind of live in NFL legacy, like a Manning or a Brady, these guys that were such pocket passers that they could just stand 5, 6, 7, 8 seconds and they're in the pocket, right? And they're so comfortable no matter what's happening around them. And after 3, 4, 5 seconds, Mahomes has taken off. He's extending the play, doing what he can. But he's never had somebody that might get bored playing left tackle before. And so if Mahomes, as he ages, doesn't have to have the escapability and can just stand, scan, wait, and deliver the football, who's going to beat that team? Like it is the ultimate cheat code for him. So obviously, like, we've got a lot of eggs in this Josh Simmons basket. Thankfully, Veach has that layer of protection with Jalen Moore to hopefully mitigate what was a problem last year. So, I mean, I think they've probably fixed that issue as best they could in one offseason, right?
And not to mention the trust that he's going to develop in Josh Simmons. Like, think of all the plays that that could have been had, but he gave up on, maybe not even because the left tackle was getting beat or anything, but just because Mahomes didn't trust the left tackle to not get beat. And so he bails on a play too early when that could have developed into one of these downfield plays that we're looking for. All right, we got to move on. All right, question 2. Are we having fun yet? All right, the team motto heading into 2025 is undoubtedly returning to having fun. They're really painting a picture of how the pressure of three-peating weighed heavily on them throughout last season. So I have a series of questions here. Take it any which way you like. I'm just going to fire these off, and you can just comment on any one that you want. So do you buy that the Chiefs weren't having fun because of all the pressure? Was last season not fun for you as a fan? Where does fun fall on your priority list as a fan this year? And is it fair to wish the 2025 Chiefs were as much fun as the 2018 to 22 Chiefs, even if they were winning as much as they did in 2024? Take the fun question any way you want, buddy.
I do think that last year was more about business than fun. I totally agree with that. And I really wonder what it felt like for the team, because we heard stories, if memory serves, we heard stories last year about how like people were trying to make the case that the Chiefs weren't even going to get to the Super Bowl because of what was observed in locker rooms after wins. Like, I think it was after the Carolina game, the Chiefs won, but it was like everybody was pissed. Like, this is not a happy football team right now, and not in like a good way, but in like this is a team that might break, right? And so you started to kind of hear that stuff last year because of the pressure and the way that it took down to the wire to win all those one-score games. Like, it's exhausting, you know? And don't get me wrong, I think that like there's a world where in the locker room after those games, you're just so dumbfounded, and all of the endorphins and everything from playing football and winning at the end of so many of those games that, like, of course, holy shit, that was fun. Are you kidding me? Look at what just happened. Like, that was probably great. But I think they walked away from so many games being like, God, look at all that we left on the table. Dirk set such a beautiful table and none of us cleaned our plates, you know, like I think that happened over and over and over again. You know, it was a tough season, and they walked into it thinking, God, we're going to be flying high and running fast, and look at all these receivers. And then the injuries start popping up, and it's like, they like, it went from we're trying to be as fun as we've been in years to, wait, who's going to start next week? Like I mean, it just immediately threw such a big wrench in the season, losing Pacheco, losing Rice, losing Hollywood, that suddenly it was all about survival. And so how do you have fun when you're just trying to scrape and claw 3.5 yards at a time on offense? Like, there's no way it was fun.
Yeah, and they're basically just searching for people that they can run plays with. Like, we don't have enough receivers or running backs to like run plays with. So we're just going to run Kareem Hunt 25 times a game because we don't know what else to do on these plays. Like, our tight end is super old. We can't be using him all the time. Our receivers are decimated. Like, we don't know what else to do. So we're just going to run Kareem Hunt for a free 4 yards. Like, that's now our offense. But yeah, this was a message that they were kind of shooting, you know, from the very first preseason game of last year. You know, Mahomes kind of gets on with his interview. I think it's via Trent Green, basically, and is like, we want to get back to having fun this year, throwing the ball downfield, all that fun stuff. And they just weren't able to do it. You were kind of talking about like the emotional toll that the not the franchise. I have the franchise. What's the ESPN show? The Kingdom. The ESPN,
is it Kingdom? I don't remember.
So the Kingdom, in one of the episodes, I've only watched the 2 episodes, The Kingdom, but Terry Bradshaw says something that the emotional toll of going for the three-peat was so strong that he wishes he would have retired. And I was just like, whoa. Like, first off, that's crazy. And second off, I don't get that word away from a quarterback of a team going for a three-peat. I don't want to hear that. But yeah, that just kind of like paints the picture of what it's like. And we're kind of, we're distant. We're following the team, or we're following everything that we're doing, but we're not really in the locker room and everything. I never really got that vibe from them, that they were like this exhausted, this, beaten down, this feeling this toll throughout the season. Did you, or what'd you think?
The reason I stop you is Patrick Mahomes in the middle of a football game, lying on the ground, caught on camera saying it's the same fucking move. Like, Patrick was really upset last year and doing everything he could to kind of stay inside of himself and not let it spill over. I don't know.
Well, clearly it was weighing on them. I don't think they're just making this up. But
yeah,
I think it definitely was. But just the way they kind of turned it on in the playoffs once again, the first two games, it was just kind of like it kind of fit the Andy Reid shutdown mode theory, where they're just like, they've been kind of laying in waiting for it to turn on the playoffs. How that theory applies to the Super Bowl, we'll kind of get into that in a later question, I think. But yeah, kind of interesting. How about part of this question? Is it fair to wish the Chiefs were as much fun as they were in the past? This was kind of a opinion that was kind of held at the end of last year, and I thought it was ridiculous at the time. Maybe just because of what we were chasing and how much we were winning. So I kind of I scoffed off that opinion at the end of last year. Like, people out here would rather see the Chiefs score points than winning all these games. But kind of going into this season now, kind of a revamp the Chiefs 2.5. I zoomed out view of things. I almost kind of see it. I almost kind of get it. I do kind of want to see the Chiefs get back to the Chiefs of old. I'm tired of hearing this shit about how Mahomes isn't the best quarterback, and the Chiefs were the 11th best offense in the NFL last season and all this shit. And I just I've heard enough of it where I do kind of want to see them turn the offensive jets back on and get back to the the prime of the Chiefs offense, let's say, from that 2018 to 22 years.
Yeah, look, I'm sure that there's a lot of pride on that side of the ball when you have widely considered the freaking Terminator playing quarterback for you, and you're struggling to put 20 points on the board sometimes. They just lacked all explosivity last year, and when you don't get to have these big chunk plays and the high flying, fast running peace signs every time that you're scoring touchdowns, it's a lot less fun to watch. They were very straightforward, deliberate, intentional. We're going to take what you give us, and we're not ever going to be greedy about it. And yeah, it's tough to play, and it's tough to stick to. It's a grind that way. And so I get that it's way more fun to watch something else. It's way more fun to throw the football down the field, but the Chiefs are about winning. Winning is what is fun. And last year it was winning and nothing else matters. Especially once those injuries happened, it's tunnel vision on, we're going to try to win this three-peat by any means necessary, and we've been dealt a really shitty hand.
And throughout last season, I kind of enjoyed it. I enjoyed people doubting the Chiefs. Damn, what's wrong with the Chiefs as they're moving to 12-1 in the standings? And it's just what the fuck do you mean? What's wrong with the Chiefs? We're 12-1. I kind of just enjoyed. I almost enjoyed the slogging offense and people just constantly asking what's wrong with us while we're in the midst of chasing a three-peat with only one loss on the resume. It was. I took pride in it. But now, kind of going into the season, I do kind of want to get back to it.
It was weird to have the answer to every jab at your team just be wins. We became the living embodiment, the 53-man roster of QB wins. That's what they were. That's all we had. We won, didn't we? Right? I don't care how they won. Did they win? They won,
It's
right?
like a round table, and they're like, clearly, we all think that the Ravens are a better team than the Chiefs. But who else in the AFC might be better than the Chiefs? It's like, what? What are you talking? What? All right, we are going to take a second break and maybe pick up a sponsor following that break.
What's good, everybody? It is Benny Heiss, KCSN betting analyst, and I just want to let you all know that it's okay. You can take a slow, deep breath. Inhale and breathe out with one word: football. You feeling it? Yeah? Did you take that in? That sweet, sweet scent of grass and pigskin in? I'm ready. I hope you're ready too, because we're going to have an absolutely awesome season once again together. And especially for all of you in the state of Missouri, get your popcorn, get your phones ready, because the wait is almost over. You can taste it. It's coming, people. DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook app, is coming. You say, show me. I say state. Later this football season, everything that you love about playing on DraftKings Sportsbook, sides, totals, spreads, props, same-game parlays, you name it, DraftKings Sportsbook is going to elevate your already great game day experience here with KCSN. And even if you don't get in by kickoff, no sweat, besides the promos on DraftKings that they offer as well, there's live in-game betting, payouts, faster than Xavier Worthy hauling down a bomb from 15 on the sidelines, all right from the comfort of your phone, wherever, whenever. You'll be betting with a top-rated sportsbook that is safe, secure, and trusted by millions of Americans across the country. Now, here's what you do. Follow your guy. You download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Be sure to use code KCSN as you get ready for sports betting to launch here in the state of Missouri. You're going to be the first in line for exclusive promos, can't miss offers, much, much more. It's code KCSN. That is KCSN in partnership with DraftKings Sportsbook. If you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus, physically present in Missouri. Eligibility restrictions apply. Terms at DraftKings.com/sportsbook. Subject to regulatory licensing requirements.
And we're back. Who's next? Sponsor? Anyone? Anything?
No.
Okay.
My phone didn't ring.
We'll get back to it. All right. Third question of the preview here. If the offensive line, and the wide receivers stay healthy this season, are we out of people to blame if the Chiefs offense does not get back to their 2018 to 2022 juggernaut ways?
No, we're not out of people to blame. And the reason that we're not is because I don't know, certainly not we, but like, I don't know if anybody is really trying to have a conversation about Andy Reid. He is a Hall of Fame coach.
Andy on the hot seat? On the hot seat? Ryan is putting him on the hot seat.
No, I guess it's just like you asked if we're out of people to blame. And I guess
I should say, are we out of scapegoats? Are we out of scapegoats for all the offense?
Right. Or excuses, whatever it is, like what can we, we're trying to pin the tail on the donkey of, 5 yards in a cloud of dust. I'll just say this. In all those power rankings and stuff that people do to fill time in the off season, I heard the football people I respect the most say things like, Andy is the best coach in the league, but he is not the best play caller or play designer anymore. And I think that's okay. I think that's fair. That maybe in that innovation department, he's not as sharp as someone who is half his age. There are like we're talking about guys like Kevin O'Connell and Sean McVay, who are literally half of Andy's age. And so Nick brings up a great point in the chat. Ben Johnson too. Like these guys are very, very young. And so Andy's got all the respect and the history and everything on his side, and his ability to run a training camp and have a program and an answer for every possible thing that could come up because of his experience. He's the best, period. No one's going to take another coach over Andy Reid, But if we're talking very specifically about the offense and some of the issues that they've had, it's possible that some sort of change in that area, whether it's Andy giving something over to somebody or hiring a new somebody or listening to some new ideas, like this is what everybody was talking about in the offseason. You guys have to look in the mirror and figure out what these problems are and fix them. And it can't just be injuries. You got to look at the schemes. You got to figure out why it was that you got creamed like that. And it can't just be strictly, oh, it's only personnel. That's it. Because it seemed like the Eagles had a plan for what you were doing on offense, like to literally attack you in the ways that you were trying to win, right? So, I mean, there's some go back to the drawing board type of stuff, but that's what everybody's supposed to do in an off season. I don't think that we've removed every excuse or every barrier. You know, Veach is doing what he can in that department. But in terms of scapegoats, like I think that is the next phase of, if the offense isn't working, then where else do you point the fingers? You know, it's going to start probably coming down on Andy. And if you did that to Andy's face, you know what he'd say? Absolutely. It's on me. I'm the head coach. It's my responsibility, and we're going to get it right. Like he's not going to shy away from it at all. But I think if that's what we're looking for, if we're trying to figure out like what more can we do, if they're healthy and it ain't clicking, yeah, that's an Andy Reid problem, I would think. Is that harsh? I don't know. Is that fair?
No, I think it's definitely fair. Because I do think the excuses are kind of in line. I kind of buy the excuses. I do think you got to look at, I don't think Patrick Mahomes played particularly well, you know, at the beginning of last season. So I think that's part of it. So it's not like, obviously you're not going to do anything with Mahomes other than, you know, he should be playing better, and he has played better. He played much better in those seasons of 2018 and 2022. I don't think there's any doubt about that. I don't think he would hesitate in saying that. But yeah, I do think it's a big year for Andy Reid, because I think he would be kind of the next person to take the blame, point the finger at. Some of you at home may be saying, you know, Matt Nagy. I don't think he's too much of a factor. I think he's just kind of a voice in there. And so maybe you'd make a change there and be like, oh, here goes Matt Nagy and, you know, incoming Doug Peterson kind of thing. But, you know, I wouldn't expect like a huge change if you're doing something like that. So I do think it's you talked about going to the drawing board. I think this is the offseason where you go to the drawing board. You've now seen, you know, the offense struggle for the better part of 2 seasons. And, you know, really, really struggle last year, especially in the department of big plays. And so that has to be Andy's issue to figure out this whole offseason. He has a whole offseason now. It's not during the season. You're not pressed for time. Whole offseason to figure out. You have what should be a better offensive line, or at least a more trusting offensive line at the most important position. You should hopefully have your weapons in here, back in the saddle. And so you should have every opportunity now to return to being, you know, one of the best, if not the best offense in the NFL. And yeah, the conversations do get a lot more difficult if we don't see that this year. And that would get interesting. It would make for an interesting season. I think most Chiefs fans are expecting to see the offense return back to what it is. But if it doesn't, it would make for some interesting conversations.
Are you scared that that's a possibility?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, things in the NFL change all the time. It's not just like Andy's just going to be like this, you know, god of offense for forever.
Are you sure? It feels like object permanence to me. Like the as long as Andy and Pat are together, like I'm just not concerned, you know? Like it's just, oh.
Yeah, you're right. He's a god. Yeah, you're right.
He's fantastic.
He's
I mean,
so well.
So like, look, I use that as kind of a bridge. I know that one of these questions about our biggest fear, right? And I certainly with the team, because of how much happens with this offense, like fears is that the offense isn't going to work, that there's, you know, something's not going to click, right? That whatever solutions they've tried to drum up aren't actually going to be solutions.
Do you want to jump to that question?
Well, I think we're kind of there. So
Okay.
we can, here's, I think where I'm actually, because I asked, you know, are you afraid that it's a possibility that it doesn't click? I think for me, like what I am actually afraid of with that offense And maybe it's, you know, the entire team here. I'm afraid that they're too tired and too familiar to like continue this streak of AFC West championships, AFC championship games. Like, there's been some turnover each year, but it's Andy and it's Patrick, and for another year it's Travis, and like it might just, you know, it's watered down. Everybody's
like the offense has been figured out, kind of thing. And not like figured out maybe too strong, but like people are getting more answers to what the Chiefs are putting out there.
Yeah, because, you know, like there's only so much that you can change year over year, right? I mean, one of the things that people talk about, like when a coach has been somewhere for however long, is like, you know, has he lost the team? Has the message gotten lost? Has it grown stale, or this, that, or the other? And like, you almost wonder at times, like, has the offense kind of burned itself out a little bit? And that's why you try to reinfuse new types of talent, and they want to go heavy on speed. And, oh, well, now, you know, we're going to go from we didn't have any receivers to we're going to have all the receivers. You know, they're doing stuff like that, I think, to try to mitigate that fear, put in some layers to be able to insulate yourself from, if we have a couple injuries, we'll still be okay. We can still keep it going. But man, they've been at the top. They've had the target on their back for so long, you know, and they're playing the same teams year after year. And like, I think that I'm scared that it's been maybe just a little bit too much Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes, and too much postseason football, that like sooner or later, you know, they're going to lose in the divisional round or whatever. I don't want it to happen. But I think like that's my fear, that we're now at 9 and we don't get to 10. God, that would suck. Ugh. I mean, yeah, 9 straight AFC West division titles would suck because it's not 10. Yeah, champagne problems. But yes, I would be heartbroken if the streak ended at 9.
Well, I think the biggest fear with what you're saying is if that plays to fruition and it comes true, and you kind of identify that as the problem, then what do you do? Because I mean, you're kind of in a position where, you know, we would want to make a change or something. Like, you can't fire Andy Reid, really. So it's like, how do you make those necessary changes other than, like, you know, almost Andy identifying it and taking matters in his own hands? But I think the
problem there, I do want to say that I know that there are people, whether they're listening to this program or not, that if they heard you say you can't just fire Andy Reid, that they would lose their minds and say, yes, you can. Because there are people that want to fire Andy Reid every single year. Now, these are not necessarily people I want to associate myself with, but I think that there are even a more reasonable crowd of people that would say, look, if you feel like you have all of the talent that you need and the talent is not carrying you, and you think like, well, then who do we point the finger at? Like, if the standard is the standard, if Clark Hunt expects, you know, we're doing this every year, and Andy suddenly is not getting it there, and he's as old as he's ever been, I mean, I think that firing Andy is a possibility.
No way. It's not even possible. You couldn't do it. You could not do it. I don't think you can do it.
I think it has to just be a, like, Andy, it's time.
Yeah, if it got to that situation, we're kind of lost the plot here a little bit, I think, but it would be like a mutual parting of ways kind of thing. It would definitely not be framed as a firing. You know, what did they say about Belichick when he left? Was it a mutual parting of ways?
Something like that, right?
But I mean, the floor completely fell out from under him, you know, and they were kind of still holding on to him, and the owner hated him, and it was, you know, that tough. So I don't even think it's possible, which is the fear, because then it's like a what do you do situation. I think that's the fear.
Did you express your biggest fear?
No. So question 4 here, just to frame it. What is your biggest fear heading into the 2025 season with the Chiefs? So mine's tied in with Rashee Rice. Do we get to Rashee, the real Rice, this season? I'm worried about the suspension coming mid-season. I'm kind of worried that he'll start the season, then miss a big chunk from the suspension, then, you know, kind of be slow coming out of it, a high chance for re-injury coming out of it. Not to mention he's coming off like a major knee injury. Like, I'm afraid that we get a bit of a wasted season from him. Then you look around the room, Mahomes and Hollywood Brown, like Hollywood being out all training camp preseason. Like, I really feel like they need to get on the same page because he comes in at the end of last year, but he's not really running any real routes. They're just kind of, throwing him screens and doing little quick stuff, but he's not really like running the offense, I would say, because I don't think they had that chemistry built up to just be like, go into a playoff game and be like, okay, now Mahomes and Hollywood Brown need to, be on the same page every play. And I don't think they were there. And I'm worried, like with him being out, that they're still not there. So I'm worried about the chemistry there. And then you're left stuck with Xavier Worthy and hoping his, 170-pound frame stays healthy for the whole season. So I'm just kind of worried about like the whole group. If something goes, we know we're going to get a Rashee Rice suspension in the middle of the season. And it seems like it'll be between like 4 and 6 games. So I'm worried about like that wasting his season and then like the domino effects that could come from it. So that's kind of my biggest fear when I look at the Chiefs team.
Is it because you see Rashee as like, if there is a solution to be had, it's having him back? He's easily the best offensive weapon that they have. You saw what he looked like to end 2 seasons ago and at the beginning of last season, and it's like this guy's going to be an absolute monster in every sense of the word. He's going to lead the NFL in yak. He's going to catch 100 balls. Like he's going to unlock all these things on offense, and then he goes away and everything shuts down. So like,
yeah.
is that where the fear is like without Rashee, we're kind of screwed?
Then there's some question marks and with injury question marks alongside him. But yeah, I guess my fear is a wasted season for Rashee Rice because of the suspension that comes in the weirdly comes in the middle of the season. Like if he gets in the beginning of the season, then you can kind of work him in over the next 4 or 5 weeks, and then he's ready to go down the stretch. Like if this goes till he's suspended until week 12 or 13, and now you're throwing him in here in these crucial games late, like that we need to win to say get home field advantage or something. It's that little tidbit in there worries me. I don't like that it's coming in the middle of the season.
Yeah, the NFL's against us, man. It's a conspiracy.
There it is.
But,
dude, when that news came out and it was just the top 20 tweets, every single one was either like the NFL hates the Chiefs or the NFL loves the Chiefs. And everybody was so dead sure, like, of course they wouldn't suspend them for these first 4 games. And then the Chiefs said, like, of course they'd suspend them for these more important mid-season games. And it was just like, guys, fucking relax. Relax. Jesus Christ.
I got a kick out of it personally. I didn't like overreact to any of that stuff, but I am ready to overreact, Dirk.
All right. Question 5. What is something from preseason you saw in preseason that you are totally overreacting to? You are beaming right now.
Mm-hmm.
All right, go ahead. Take it away.
I'm ready to overreact about the running back room in a positive way.
Oh,
I'm here to swerve, people. I'm here to zag on the running back room.
nice.
I'll tell you this. All right, here's my proposition, football gods. If you tell me that the running backs on the roster, because we don't know who they are yet, but if it includes Isaiah Pacheco, Kareem Hunt, and Brashard Smith, if I have those 3 guys healthy all season, the Chiefs are going to be just fine. That's all I need. You give me healthy, and I tell you I need nothing else at running back. Is it as talented as I want it to be? No. Is it explosive as I want it to be? Probably not. Is it, as skilled and crafty as I want it to be? No, I doubt it. But it has a little bit of everything that I want. And I will say that in that 3rd preseason game, don't get me wrong, everybody was clicking. But Isaiah Pacheco looked like Isaiah Pacheco, and he did not when he came back last year after breaking his leg, which is totally understandable. But he looks healthy. He looks right. And I'm telling you, you heard it here. The contract year is undefeated, folks. And Isaiah Pacheco might be like the hungriest dog in the junkyard, okay? This man was a 7th round draft pick who the first time he talked to Kansas City media said, I'm ready to take a grown man's job. And he has been working on that 7th round paycheck since he's been here. And now he has got to, if he wants an NFL career, he has to have a good year. Like his NFL life depends on how productive he is this year, and generational wealth is at his doorstep. If he goes out and has a big season, he can make $10 million. He can make $20 million. All right. Like he has a lot riding on this year. And I think that Isaiah Pacheco has enough to be a lead back in the NFL in 2025. Is he going to be the best? No, he's not. But what I'm totally overreacting to in the preseason is that the Chiefs have enough at running back. If you promise me they don't get hurt, just promise we don't have any injuries. Then we'll be okay.
I was going through a couple of days ago. I was going through my notes from the offseason, just random Chiefs notes that I would have scribbled down in my phone notes. I had one note all by itself, big bold letters. The disrespect for Isaiah Pacheco this offseason is insane. And I just saw it all offseason. Like people just really discarded him after the season he had last year, and he wasn't good last year. But he also broke his fucking leg early on. Like he clearly was not the same running back when he came back. Everybody could see it. And I don't think that's the real Isaiah Pacheco. So I think, of course, he will look better after having an entire offseason to overcome that. So, yeah, I think there was a lot of disrespect thrown Pacheco's way. I think there's a decent amount thrown Kareem Hunt's way because he has no explosive runs, which is fine. But, damn, that dude, he still runs hard. He's trustworthy in short yardage situations. And he's just talk about a dog. I mean, he was like our team MVP last year. Like that dude carried this offense at times when we needed it most. And so I know the top end speed obviously isn't there anymore. But I still think Kareem Hunt, he's going to be a year older. I don't think they'll be leaning on him too hard, but I think Kareem Hunt can still do some things. Elijah Mitchell, I think I could see some juice from. Brashard too on these being a pass catcher out of the backfield. Been clamoring for that since the Patriots days of Shane Vereen, Theo Riddick, these kind of guys. Always love a good receiving back. They never really replaced Jerick McKinnon, I would say, Jerk McChicken. And so if Brashard could be that guy to replace that, I mean, Pirine was supposed to be it, but they never really trusted him.
He like led all running backs in first down catches or something like that. He had some really nice running back receiving stat that I was like, oh, no, Pirine did last year. He caught like 47 balls. Like he really did not have as quiet a year as we remember.
Nick, check that. I think Ryan's lying. Check that.
I want to remember is 47.
There's no way. That's too high.
I think it's 47. That might be regular season and playoffs.
While we wake Nick up from his hour-long nap here, we'll get to my overreaction from the preseason, and it is Patrick Mahomes throwing multiple back shoulder throws is a big fat something. This is a throw that we have not really seen much from him in his career. And yet we've seen it. We saw like 4, I would say, this preseason, a couple for touchdowns. He's kind of working on it with Rashee Rice. 28 receptions for Pirine, by the way.
It's 47. 47 is what
rounding up. 40. He just said 28.
I know. 47.
Yeah. Unreal. But opening the season, saying he wants to be aggressive, couldn't really do it last year because of everything we talked about. And yet here we are, in the preseason once again, stressing it. Andy standing behind him all of training camp, encouraging him to throw downfield. His air yards per attempt in this preseason are off the charts. I actually think what's going to happen is he's going to come out of the gates of this season too aggressive, trying to make a statement and kind of throw some interceptions early on. And I think both he and Andy Reid will be okay with that and view it as a good thing for the long term. Like I think Mahomes is going to try and make a statement that we are going to throw downfield early and often this season. And so I think we see that. And if he's going to add the back shoulder throws, these tight window throws to his resume, something that we can do, haven't really done in this offense, I think you can see a whole other part of the offense start to open up. So I think that was a big fat something watching Mahomes work on these back shoulder throws, especially with Rashee Rice, seems to be his guy that's going for that. Or who was that dude, Brownlee or whatever, who caught that first touchdown?
Brownlee.
That was a hell of a catch. That was maybe look up Brownlee. I'll say that. I don't know why he was in there on the first drive of the game, but that was a hell of a catch.
The back shoulder throws, I think, emblematic of this like new leaf that we may be seeing from Patrick Mahomes here in 2025. I think here's what I will say, man. I don't know. Did you catch his quarter and a half or whatever of that preseason game against the Bears?
Yes.
Is it just me, or is Patrick Mahomes throwing with velocity that we have not seen for a while? Last year, we were like consistently complaining, throw it with your chest. You're leading Worthy out of bounds. You're inaccurate on these deep balls. It looks like he's fluttering. Didn't look like that on whatever night of the week that was. Friday? Was that Friday night? My God. I mean, he looked like he was throwing it with like everything that he had. I mean, these things were hardly rising. That one that he threw downfield to Tyquan Thornton aside, everything else looked like it was just a frozen rope, man. And I got excited watching him. Like the kind of like just the pace and the way the ball's jumping out of his hand and stuff. And it felt like he was trying to show something. Honestly, what it reminded me of was those first 3-4 games when we're all just like,
what a time.
He just threw 6 touchdowns at Pittsburgh. You know, he comes back home and does that fucking Chris Conley touchdown against San Francisco is like maybe my favorite play of his career still. And that was like his 4th game, right? But like the way that the ball came out of his hand in 2018 is what it looked like against the Bears. And maybe you could go back and pick through the film last year and see him have 10 throws that look like that. But man, it looks like he did something this offseason where it was like, I know my own issues, and Bobby, let's get to work. Right. Like he looked like a different guy. He really did. He looked like a different guy throwing the ball. We'll see if that lasts. It is just a preseason game, but it was pretty exciting.
You almost wonder if that ties into our first question with Josh Simmons and a trust in the left tackle and, trusting his mechanics, going through the full throwing motion and really stepping into it instead of trying to hurry every single thing that he's doing. I wonder if that kind of ties in together.
Yeah, that's smart. Good thought. Good show, Dirk. We've started the season. We're officially underway.
We want to know, baby.
We want to know. Next time you guys hear from us, we'll just probably be later this week. Got some more questions for you. And then, man, how many days away are we from the actual first game? It's September 5th, isn't it?
10 days?
Man,
10 days.
Coming up. Can't believe it. Football is here, folks. I am Ryan Scott Hall. He is his Dirkness. And this has been another episode of Amateur Hour, Season 14. Let's go!